Welcome. Today we are going to see quantum consciousness. Earlier we have seen consciousness according to biology, the biological perspective of consciousness. Today we are going to see consciousness in the quantum perspective. First, Osho tells enlightenment is simply means an experience of your consciousness unclouded by thoughts, emotions and sentiments. Experience is your consciousness unclouded by thoughts, emotions and sentiments. Enlightenment means being fully conscious, aware. Ordinarily we are not conscious and not aware. We are doing things either out of habit or out of biological instincts. When one is enlightened, one is conscious, but one is conscious of consciousness. One is perfectly conscious, but there is no object in it. One is simply conscious. If a light goes on, enlightening the emptiness around it, there is no object. There is nothing the light can fall upon. It is pure consciousness. The object has disappeared. Your subject has flowered into totality. Now there is no object, and hence there can be no subject. The object and subject both have disappeared. You are simply conscious. Not conscious of anything, just conscious. You are consciousness. He is not conscious about enlightenment. He is simply conscious. He lives in consciousness. He sleeps in consciousness. He moves in consciousness. He lives and dies in consciousness. Consciousness becomes an eternal source in him, a non-flickering flame, a non-wavering state of being. It is not an attribute. It is not accidental. It cannot be taken away. His whole being is conscious. Then what Ramana Maharishi says? Existence or consciousness is the only reality. Consciousness plus waking we call waking. The consciousness plus the waking state, we call it waking. Consciousness plus sleep, we call it sleep. Consciousness plus dream, we call dream. Consciousness is a screen on which all the pictures come and go. The screen is real. The pictures are merely shadows on it. The reality, which is the mere consciousness that remains when ignorance is destroyed, along with knowledge of objects, alone is the self. The Brahma Swarupa, real form of Brahman, which is abundant self-awareness, that is not the least ignorance. So these are the two statements by the great seers. One is Osho and Ramana Maharishi. Then we will see consciousness in the light of quantum physics. The word quantum, what does it mean? It means small. Physics is the study of the physical universe. So quantum physics is the study of the physical universe, and quantum is the smallest particles of it. Traditionally, at least in the past 60 years, science increasingly has looked upon all reality as based on the primacy of matter. Matter is everything, and so material interactions cause everything. Material interactions start with the elementary particle submatter. Elementary particles make atoms. Atoms make molecules. Molecules make cells. Cells make the brain. And the wisdom is that the brain is the procedure of the consciousness and all the higher inner world. It is due to this upward causation from the level of the elementary particles going upwards to the brain, to all these appearances. Looking affects objects according to quantum physics. But if consciousness is brain phenomenon, as materialist science poses, the observer effect is a paradox, because then brain and its consciousness both consist of possibilities only. Possibilities acting on other possibilities cannot make actuality. Try it and see. Imagine possible cars in a car lot. Also imagine possible money in your bank account. Now imagine hard and combine the two possibilities. Do you expect a car manifesting in your garage? The resolution of the paradox is to turn the materialistic view of consciousness upside down. Let consciousness be the base of the world, and let matter consist of waves of possibilities of consciousness. Consciousness chooses from the possibility waves of matter within it to collapse the actual events that we observe. Note that in every event of observation, there is the object the observer is looking at, and a second object consists of the observer, a brain. Before observation, before collapse, both were waves of possibility. When consciousness chooses, only the brain is actualized among the external object as experiences, as appearances in consciousness. Consciousness identifies with the brain due to specialness of the brain, a specialness that makes an object with your brain an observer. This conscious identity is what we call the self, what we experience as the subject looking at the collapsed object. Consciousness, the chooser, transcends both immanent subject and object. In this generalized science within consciousness, upward causation gives us the waves of possibility to choose from. Downward causation consists of the act of choice. Both modes of causation are incorporated, and there is no dualism. The subject-object duality is seen to be an appearance. This is completely a quote from Amit Goswami. Then another quote: the new paradigm is circular and holistic by design. Imagine yourself at the center of a large quantum pond. You, the center circle, have a profound effect on every circle that surrounds you. Now, this is a metaphor. We are not talking about a real pond of water here. We are talking about a field of energy. You are like a pebble thrown into the center of this field of energy. The other circles are ripples coming out from your own consciousness. But these are not ripples of water, these are waves of thought. This is a quote from Darrin Deterra, Ph.D. Then there is another quote: we all come from the same source. The universe is made up of particles and waves. If we go back to 13.7 billion years to the moment before the Big Bang, all of the particles known in the universe were squished together into a single particle the size of a green pea. This means that you, me, your best friend, and your worst enemy were once a part of the same pea-sized particle that gave birth to this expanding universe. The particles that make up the universe are now separate and expanding, but energetically we are still linked. Everyone on this planet, all this life and all physical existence emerges from a single point of oneness and the unity. We all come from, and we are still a part of one unified quantum field of energy. In 1944, Max Planck identified the existence of the unified field. He called it the matrix. He believed that underlying everything we can see, our bodies included, there is an intelligent and conscious mind. Greg Braden calls this divine matrix. I call this source. Others call it God. Whatever you call it, the divine matrix is much larger and infinitely more powerful than the global matrix that rules your material existence. This is a quote from Darrin Deterra, Ph.D. Quantum activist. There is a documentary called Quantum Activist. We'll see about that. The quantum activist tells the story of a man who challenges us to rethink our every notions of existence and reality with a force and scope not felt since Einstein. This film bridges the gap between God and science, the work of Goswami, with stunning precision and without straying from the rigors of quantum mechanics, reveals the overreaching unity inherent in the worlds of major religions and mystical traditions. So I'll give the reference in the end. Think about this. This is where the science meets the spirituality. I won't call it religion, but the science meets the spirituality. So, like non-dual Brahman or Advaita, we say everything is one without two. Here we see the same thing through science, the quantum physics. Everything is a waveform of energy originating from the same particle, existing as the same unified energy. Maybe particles might have now separated, but it is still the unified field of energy. So that is a profound thought where spirituality and quantum physics meet. Please stay with me for other episodes. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.